Did you know that John Wayne's final pickup truck was actually a 1978 Ford, just like this one with a big block 460 in it? Stay tuned for this episode of Dentside Depot. We're going to take a look at John Wayne's final truck and compare it to this one that you see right here, which is almost identical. So believe it or not, in 1978, John Wayne purchased his final pickup truck, and it's not what you think it was. It was not a 4x4, it was a two-wheel drive truck like the one that you see right here. Now what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you my truck as I put John Wayne's truck in a picture in the bottom left or right hand corner so you can compare. So let's go ahead and get to it and see what John Wayne's truck looks like and how it compares to this one right here. Okay, in our first picture you can see the color combination, which was brown and sand, or dark brown metallic and sand paint. Now this particular truck, the paint combination is mixed. It's switched the other way, but this is the same paint color combination that John Wayne had on his particular pickup truck. Now, of course, this truck is a regular cab, and as you can see, John Wayne's truck was a super cab, but they were both Lariat trim options. Of course, John Wayne's was technically an F350, but they were both two-wheel drive, 8-lug trucks, as you can see here. Now, the Lariat trim option mean that you got the highest trim, and we're going to talk about that today as we go around looking at both of these trucks. One of the coolest things about John Wayne's pickup truck is that it was optioned with the in-bed toolbox that you can see right here. Now, not every truck came with this option standard. It was something that you had to order, and you could stow away your extra tools. So you can imagine for a cowboy like John Wayne, who's also doing some hauling, this could definitely come in handy for maybe extra tool stowage, or extra spare tire equipment, or maybe even a saddle if it would fit. I don't know, a bunch of different stuff you could definitely put in there to help you out. Now you'll notice that John Wayne's truck does not have factory Ford wheels on it, because only the F-150s could be had with wagon wheels. There was no F-250 or 350 wagon wheels, but John Wayne added chrome wagon wheels to his particular truck, and they're essentially identical to these ones right here, except his are chrome, and then he has a similar tire size on with the Bigfoot AT Big O's. A very common option to have during this time period were the front bumperettes, and you can see on John Wayne's truck that's exactly what they had, and these could definitely come in handy if you just needed to simply push something around in the yard or where you're towing something or whatever it may be. It gave your truck a little bit of extra protection, but it also made it look really cool. Something John Wayne added to the front of his truck was the special horse emblem that you could see on top of the hood right here. Now of course this truck doesn't have one, but if you ordered an Explorer package truck, you would get a special emblem on the hood. You can see this particular truck has the bug deflector in the front. Of course, John Wayne added the tie-down hooks to the side of his pickup truck. Now, apparently this one was not optioned with it from the factory, so someone added them later on. But you can imagine if you're towing a bunch of stuff in the bed, you're going to want to have those tie-down hooks as well. Looking at the back of John Wayne's pickup truck, one of the things that you will quickly notice is that it has extra trim, and it has extra trim on it because it is the Lariat trim package. And when you had the Lariat trim package, you would get this extra piece of trim going along the top of the tailgate here. This was available, or also came standard with the XLT, the Ford badge in the center. Now, you can see this truck says trailer special. John Wayne's truck does not have it on it, but I suspect that his truck was also equipped with trailer special, even though we don't see the emblem, because you can see the trailer special equipment underneath the hood, which we'll take a look at in a second here. Now, John Wayne's truck has the chrome bumper installed, and you can tell the difference because the painted step bumper loops up in the back where the chrome bumper loops down. I personally like the chrome bumper better. It definitely looks a lot neater. Looking down the side of the truck, you will notice that Lariats are equipped with the trim on the top and the bottom. The bottom trim commonly being called the racetrack trim, and that means that you typically had two-tone paint. Now, you could delete the two-tone paint, but during this time period, it'd be very common to see two-tone, especially in brown and sand. John Wayne was definitely doing some work with his particular truck, so he added aftermarket running boards, just like you see on this pickup truck right here. This was definitely a good thing to have, especially if you were older and needed help to get in and out of your pickup truck. Now, while we're down here, why did John Wayne purchase a two-wheel drive pickup truck instead of a four-wheel drive pickup truck? One of the reasons for this is a two-wheel drive truck is going to have a much greater gross vehicle weight rating for towing, and really this was the ultimate hauler back in the day. A Lariat option truck in two-wheel drive would give you the best towing characteristics of any truck that you could get. Add a limited slip rear and you had the ultimate hauler. Now let's take a look on the inside of the truck, and this is where the Lariat trim really comes into play. You can see the extra door card trim. The seat was slightly different, just like John Wayne's truck was as well. Now his truck would not have had these color keyed seat belts. They were only available in the regular cab trucks, but still a Lariat nonetheless. Looking on the inside of John Wayne's truck, you can tell that it was equipped with factory cruise control because it had the factory cruise control steering wheel. If you had aftermarket dealer installed cruise control, there would be an additional lever here zip tied to the turn signal switch, and the steering wheel would just be plain. So he obviously added the cruise control from the factory. Similarly to John Wayne's truck, we have a trailer brake controller here. Now, if you're actually going to be doing some real deal trailering, then you definitely want to have this so you can control your trailer and how much brake force it is getting in the rear. Something really cool about John Wayne's pickup truck is that right above the Ranger and Lariat badges on his glove box, you can see that he had a special gold plaque installed that says "This car built especially for John Wayne." That was definitely really cool that he did that, and really adds to the truck overall. While we're over here, you can also see that John Wayne's truck was installed with the security lock group that added an extra lock onto the glove box. I'm sure he probably had some valuable stuff as he was transporting stuff around the country, and you definitely wanted to have that installed if you were. Something this truck doesn't have currently, but did have at some point, and John Wayne's truck definitely had, is a CB radio. Of course, during this time period, it was before cell phones, and you needed to have a CB radio in order to communicate with other people, and that's definitely something you wanted to have installed if you were doing long hauls. Now, we don't know for sure if John Wayne had this installed on his truck, but I would probably guess that he did, and it is the special flipper visor option, so that special lady in your life sitting next to you can open up the visor and check her makeup, and then be good to go for whatever event that you were going to. Now let's take a peek under the hood. Okay, one of Ford's biggest mistakes in the 1970s was not offering this engine on all of the pickup trucks. You could only get the big block 460 on the two-wheel drive trucks, which in my opinion was a big mistake because they literally just bolt right in with different motor mounts. So it really doesn't make any sense that the four-wheel drive trucks also didn't get this particular setup. But regardless, John Wayne's truck definitely had the 460 in it, which made it the ultimate hauler, the most power, and probably the best fuel mileage, considering he was hauling very heavy loads. Something that you will see on John Wayne's truck is that it has an extended booster. That extended booster is what's known as a dual diaphragm booster, and that would give you extra braking boost power under heavy braking, and definitely something that you wanted to have. Looking at the firewall of John Wayne's truck, you will see that it has this right here, and this is the wiring harness pickup for the trailer special, camper special, or the rear defroster. And I believe John Wayne's truck was probably a trailer special truck based on that we can see this on the firewall. Now this wire goes all the way back to the starter solenoid there, where it picks up auxiliary power that's routed to this relay down here, which then goes to an auxiliary replacement harness that goes out the back, so you can directly hook up your truck to a trailer from the factory without having to add any other wiring. Of course, you would definitely also want to add in a trailer brake controller like John Wayne did on his particular truck. And with that being said, you can see that John Wayne definitely picked out the coolest and the best pickup truck that you could have bought in 1978, and that was a two-wheel drive Lariat truck in the classic color combination that we see here, except flip the other way, of course, in two-wheel drive to do the ultimate hauling. If you enjoyed this episode of Dentside Depot, remember to like and subscribe, and keep restoring those classic trucks.